All right, it says we're live, so I guess we're live here.
We're live, and we're alive, I
I
guess.
see we've got a couple of heavy hitters first in the comments here. Mr. Eric, those back pages, and Mr. Dave, Blue Jacket 66. I like Dave earlier when I posted that we were going to be going live. He said that if he had absolutely nothing else to do and there was nothing on TV, then he might stop in. I told him I don't blame you.
I mean, that's fair.
That's just the kind of operation that we run here.
Definitely so.
What's up, Mr. Ron Fig? Cheers as well. Cheers. We got Michael drinking the water, and I'm sipping on a Coke Zero here. So we're getting at it here. We got Rick, vintage oddball cards in here. Stove, the legend. Mark, what's up, man? Reese, Mike, baseball collector. Look at this. I guess we better start performing here.
You got a power group here coming in.
So one of the first topics I wanted to kind of jump into, and this is a topic that's on a lot of people's mind, and I've had several friends that have kind of asked me about this, and I'm sure you have as well.
Oh yeah.
So with the present market that we're in with sports cards, and let's say that you already had a bunch of stuff that you had in your collection prior to all this run up, do you think that now is a good time to buy? Do you think it's a good time to sell, or do you think it's a good time to hold? I know that you've kind of been down this path before as far as selling a collection, and so I was kind of wanting to get your thoughts on that.
Well, buying, I don't know if it's a good time to buy. Just overall, because everything's so pricey. But if you think it's going to go up, obviously it is a good time to buy. So it's tough. I think you need to be more cautious maybe than you have been in the past. I think there's a lot of investors they're in the game right now, and so I think you go and look at comparable prices and things. I think there's a lot of inflation, and so you got to be careful buying. But I definitely don't think it's a good time to buy. I mean, personally, I think the people who already had a lot of the big cards, and a lot of just the nice stuff, I think they're sitting pretty because they do have options. They can sell or they can continue to hold. But adding new stuff is just brutal right now. Eric and I were texting, I think last week one day, and we were talking about it too. Like, man, everything's so pricey, and trying to add anything is just brutal. But I think if you have raw cards right now that you've had for a long time that you bought for pennies on the dollar, and you can get them graded, and they grade high, I don't think it's a bad time to sell at all. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think for me, it's I kind of look at it on a case by case basis. First off, I guess one of the things that I would, you have to ask yourself is, what are your intentions when you buy something? Like, are you one of these new people, or not to say it's only new people that do this, but that's, a lot of people that are just coming in, they're looking to flip things. Are you looking to hold on to stuff long term? So first off, you have to ask yourself, like, what are my intentions? And then second, I think it depends on, who are you buying? What's your or selling in that way? Are you buying a guy like, a guy to hold on long term, like a Mike Trout,
LeBron,
somebody like that? Or are you looking at one of these guys that people are like buying these guys? I think, because baseball and basketball are about to start, football won't be too much behind. They're looking at some of these, younger players like, hey, maybe this guy gets off to a hot start for a couple of weeks and then I'll, try to flip it.
Yeah.
You have to be careful doing that, because as we all know, that can become a game of hot potato, and somebody, if you played that game, you don't want to be the guy that is left holding the potato, because, and that happens more often than not.
it's the law of averages. It's going to happen to somebody. I mean, it's just the way it works, you know. But I'm with you. You know, I think the long-term hold guys, you're probably fine. Mike Trout, you know, Kobe, LeBron, you know, some of these guys, you're going to be fine buying those guys stuff for the most part. You know, yeah, Steve says 20K in Acuna sales, you know. And,
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and you know, Acuna, he's a guy right now that if you think he's going to be the next Mike Trout, you hold on to him. If you don't, you sell him. You know, it's those guys like that are pretty simple. You know,
I want to go back to this one right here. Ray PSA cards ask, will the market crash or stay strong? It's a gamble. I guess that's more of a statement than a question, but you know, I tend to think that, you know, like obviously we're in kind of like some uncharted territory as far as like, you know, this whole, you know, COVID thing, and we've had no sport for a while, but the sports card market has had ups and downs before. This is not like that's necessarily that new of a concept, but with so many new people, it's new to them, I guess.
I agree. You know, I think a lot of people, you're right. A lot of people who have been in it forever, you know, you just kind of ride the waves, and if you collect, you're going to keep collecting. It's not a big deal. But some of these people who are coming in new to this that are spending big money, it's going to be interesting to see when they decide is it time to get out. And if they start dumping a bunch of stuff all at one time to get out, you can see the prices spike downward very quickly. I mean, I can see it happening, which would be a good time to buy for us that are in it for the long haul.
Yeah, and I think that's just it's if you've been in this for a long time and you plan on being in it for a long time going forward, I think you just look at it a lot differently. Like I don't worry so much about the guys that I feel are going to be good long term. You know, like and you know, you see some of these new channels that come out and they're telling you to buy guys. Like I saw something the other day, somebody was telling me that somebody had posted something about Jordan Poole for Golden State. So I went and looked at some of his prices, and like some of his Prism Silvers, like PSA 10s, are selling for like $75-$80. I'm like, now see, that's a guy that I would, you know, if you have Jordan Poole, I would sell.
He's a career role player. He's not going to stay that high forever. It's just the way it is. Sell now for sure.
I kind of look at those guys, like some of the new guys that come into this, and they like prop up guys like a Jordan Poole or something.
Because they've got much to sell.
Yeah, well, and even if they probably do, you're probably right about that. But I look at some of those channels, and you know, I don't like to mention channel names. You know, a lot of us know the channels that we're talking about that do this kind of stuff, put out this type of content. But whenever they put out something that says to buy something, you know, they have a pretty good following, so a bunch of people run out and buy them. I would kind of advise people to do the opposite of what those guys are doing. Like if they're telling people to buy, I would sell.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree. Yep.
I mean,
because you know you have people out there that are actively looking for them. You're probably going to get the best prices you ever will. Just be done with it.
Yeah, let's see what this one here. Tough time for new flippers. That's probably true because you're coming in at a much higher price point than what people did in the past. Like in the past, I mean this will kind of date us a little bit, but you know, you look back like 20, 25 years, somebody had to actually perform and do something for their card values to go up. But I think with the internet now and all the scouting that people do, like people are following a lot of these players like when they're in high school. So everybody knows about these guys when they get into the league or even before they get into the league. You see baseball players, that their card prices are just crazy, like before they even play a game in the minor leagues, a little less the major leagues.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the greatest example for me is like Jason Dominguez right now. His He's what, 17, 16, 17, something like that.
I don't watch either of those guys, but I would watch that if that were going to happen.
That's pretty funny, Eric. I really appreciate that. That's just good stuff.
Amish Dave says to buy 90 Donruss, pump and dump. Okay, that would be that'd be a move that not a lot of people are talking about. Auctions are horrible for seller. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. Nats man. It's one of those things. I mean, anytime you run something at auction, you're taking a risk that not the right set of eyeballs is going to see it at the time that it's on eBay. Let's see, what else do we got here? I like this right here. Prospecting is for a thrill. That's it. That's the way that I think people should look at it. Like, if you are a gambler and you want to gamble, that's the perfect avenue right there to do it, because you have, you basically have a vested interest in whichever player that you're buying. But at the same time, you need to understand that what's been happening lately is not normal. Typically, not everyone goes up in value, but that's kind of what we've seen for the most part lately.
Everybody.
That's kind of a new phenomenon.
I just laughed at like last year's NBA draft. I mean, we all know usually the top 5 picks or so, usually sell really well. And then you get into maybe 5 through 20 are the guys who you pick out 1 or 2 maybe, and then try to hit it big on somebody. And then the rest of the guys are just, we know they're going to be career role players, right? I mean, but now you see like late first round picks, second round picks sell like what early first round picks used to sell for, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah. And I mean, just, kind of going back to the Jordan Poole, like, I mean, first off, he plays for the Warriors, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're not going to be playing here whenever this starts back up. So I don't know, like, what upside people are seeing in someone like that. And I believe that he plays the same position as Klay Thompson. So I don't really see what they see going forward with him as well. It just, some of that stuff just doesn't make sense. Like, I think people, you always hear people say, zig when everybody else is zagging and stuff like that. I think people are taking that a little too extreme. Like, they're trying to see things that just aren't there. Like, they don't make sense. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I think too, a lot of the guys are so expensive, people start reaching for the cheaper guys. You know what I mean? It's like Jordan Poole is all of a sudden a sexy option because he's cheaper than John Moran or Zion or some of these other guys. I agree.
I mean, up until like the last couple of weeks, I don't think anybody. I mean, there may have been some people like his family and people that might have watched him in college, and maybe if you're, a big Golden State fan, you probably know about him. But I mean, come on. I mean, and then here's another guy that like, and this is a guy that's he's a good. I mean, he's kind of proven himself to be a good player in a very limited number of games last year. This is a baseball player, and a lot of people are really on this guy, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why, unless it's just somebody that they really like and they want to collect him, which, I mean, if that's, if he's on your team or you just like him as a player and you want to collect him. But I think a lot of people are collecting this guy for value, and that's Luis Arias.
Why?
I mean, I don't understand it. Like, if you're collecting him or if you're, putting money into him thinking that he's going to, be worth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like last year, I think he hit like 330, 334, something like that. But he had 4 home runs. And I went back and looked at his minor league statistics, and he never hit 4 home runs in a season in the minors.
He has no power. Yeah, there's no power.
And let's say he does go out and, he hits 320 or whatever, but it's all like singles, throw in a few doubles. I mean, I just don't I don't see, like, unless people just think that he's going to develop this power or something, because last time I checked, I mean, people that hit a lot of singles don't sell very well. But
no. Well, look back at the 80s and 90s. Look at Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs and these guys. I mean, Tony Gwynn, as great as he is, he doesn't really sell that great, essentially.
I mean, those are all-time greats, though.
All-time greats, yeah.
I was thinking, you know, whenever I thought of him, like, I was thinking, like, what is his ceiling? Like, let's just say that, which I don't think he will become anything close to this, but let's just say he became a guy like Ichiro or something like that. And Ichiro has, you know, a tremendous international market behind him as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ichiro's an all-time great too. I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I just like that's just the type of player that Arias is. I don't know. Maybe somebody that's big on him can explain it to me.
Yeah, Rod Carew, Blue Jacket 66 said, yeah, great hitter. You know, as far as hobby wise, I mean, he's never really had a following, you know, at all. I mean, it's just without the home runs, it hurts a lot.
I like JT's comment.
There you go.
This right here kind of says it all, right?
Chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah, I mean that's you know, that's the thing is like we're not living in the dead ball era here where, you know, guys like Cobb and guys like that, you know, those guys were like super valuable back in the day because of the way that the game was played. But I just
you look back at the last 20 years. I mean, I'm trying to think of some other guys. Ichiro obviously comes to mind, but there's been a lot of these guys that have came along that don't really hit home runs, and they're good. You know, they're good players. You know, Angelson Simmons and Juan Pierre's and, you know, guys like that. They're good players, but their value is more on defense and speed, which now speed is kind of going away.
And he doesn't even have speed, really.
He doesn't run.
I mean,
he's a good player. I mean, don't get me wrong, but hobby-wise, no, forget it.
Yeah, there you go, Mark. Chicks dig the sustainable home run fly ball rate. That's true. Chicks dig WAR. Yeah.
And launch angle. They like launch angle.
Yeah. How to hit a single. Don't hit a dinger. I like it.
But yeah. I've seen his prices go up a lot, and you know, it is what it is. But I wouldn't buy. You know, I would rather buy a lot of other guys. I'm
not by any means saying that that I'm, you know, going to be right about him. I've been wrong on plenty of guys before, and I'll be wrong on plenty of guys going forward. But I was just thinking that maybe somebody could, you know, explain to me the phenomenon of a guy like that just, you know, he's basically a singles hitter and he plays for the Twins.
Huge market.
I think he's just a perfect example that people are just they have money to burn, and they're just like they're looking to burn it. You know, they're like, I got to get in on somebody. Some of these guys have already skyrocketed so high, and he's still relatively affordable. I think like his Topps Chrome updates, like PSA 10s are like, you know, $40 to $50. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
If I was a Twins fan, I'd buy one of those just to have it because I was a Twins fan. But if I'm an investor, I'm not buying that stuff. I mean,
Dave makes a solid point here.
Man, that's pretty truthful.
Oh, Dave, gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. So what kind of stuff have you been buying, Michael? Like,
still just buying the same stuff. You know, 90s baseball. I bought quite a bit lately. Had a ridiculous amount of stuff come in June, and so far in July I haven't found as much stuff. But you know, I'm still buying lots of Scott Rowlands, lots of Nomars. You know, and enjoying doing that. I've got a couple of cards coming in, but nothing much. But trying to get in on the 2020 Bowman Sapphire stuff a little bit, and the prices for the guys I want to buy, just like we talk about, prices I think should be $25 to $35 for some of the cards. They're $50 to $75, you know. So I'm waiting back to see if they come down or see what happens. But it's tough to buy right now. I mean, it's just I've started looking into a lot of sealed boxes again. I'm going to start trying to purchase them. I think right now 2000s baseball, specifically from 2000 to around 05. A lot of those are still priced somewhat reasonably, so I'm going to start picking up quite a few of those. But other than that, I mean, I just don't see a lot that I consider great value right now. I was telling you earlier today, I'm going to start looking at some Mike Trout, prism, just silver prisms and different things like that. Just trying to pick up some of those, but there's not really a lot out there that I just see as great value to buy right now.
So you're kind of looking to get in there and gamble a little bit with some of the Bowman Sapphire stuff, huh?
Well, I don't want to bust boxes. I just want to buy some singles. The boxes are $400 a piece or whatever they cost, and I don't want to do that. I've seen some great breaks, but I've seen some terrible ones too, like what's expected. But definitely would like to buy some singles of about 4 or 5 guys and stash them back. But I'm looking at long-term holds. I don't want to flip anybody in the next year, really. I'm looking at some of the younger guys that may not make it to the majors till 2022, 2023, and have a couple years here to buy and stash them back.
Yeah, I mean that's fun to do, and we've both done stuff like that in the past, and what would you say has been your typical success rate on players when you do something like that?
Oh, terrible. It's terrible. I mean, I prospected a little bit in the mid 2000s, 06, 05, 06, right through there. I was terrible at it at the end. I sold Clayton Kershaw, Bowman Chrome, 06 Bowman draft Chrome auto that I pulled. I sold him and kept some of the terrible players that were coming out at the time because I thought they were better ones. And then I got back into prospecting big time in 2012, and I remember 2013 I sold Correa, sold everybody out of that year, kept Gregory Polanco for a while. 2014 I kept Maikel Franco. So I've done a pretty terrible job. So I'm not the best judge of prospects, overall. So it is what it is, but it's fun. It's fun to stash back. I'm to the point now where the guys that are expensive, I sell them. I would sell them if I'd sell them and just take whatever I can get for them at the time. And I would rather buy a few of the cheaper guys and just hope I hit it big. I'd rather take that strategy now.
Are there any cheap guys?
Right now, there's not. There used to be some cheap guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't remember who it was earlier in the chat said, it's a rough time to come into this if that's the kind of stuff that you're looking to do, because I mean everybody's expensive just from the get-go, because there's so many people that are, it's fun to do stuff like that. So you want to get in there, pick out a couple of guys and just kind of follow their careers and kind of see what they do.
And I've gotten to the point where I've done this the other day. I've gotten to the point where just where I live, even though I'm a Cardinals fan, but I'm gonna specifically look at some of the Rangers prospects because I can follow them very closely because of where I live. And the Josh Jungs, the Bayron Lora, some of these guys that are coming up right now, I'm gonna buy some of their stuff just so I can follow them, just to stay interested in it because I watch a lot of Rangers baseball because they're on the regional broadcast here. He likes a shirt. And I think Travis Lee, super collectors. So I loved Travis Lee back in the 90s. I thought he was going to be great, and man, I was wrong.
Bringing out all the big names from the past here. Maikel Franco, awesome, 1 week per season. Yeah, I mean, but Mike, you got to tell me which week it is, which week he's going to be on fire.
That's right. Nobody knows. He doesn't know. For
sure. Let's see. Worst card or product buyer regret since the Rona.
I haven't bought a lot. As far as what I would say regretful stuff. I bought. I mean, my Prism buys were good. I really don't have a whole lot of regrets, but I've bought only 90s baseball stuff to hold, so I don't really have a lot.
Yeah, it hasn't really been long enough to really regret anything too much yet. Like if you ask me a year or two from now, I may have, a really good answer for you, because I've basically been buying, for the most part, 3 players I've been kind of concentrating on. One from basketball, one baseball, one football. Basketball, that's been easy because it's Russell Westbrook, everybody knows that. Baseball, I've been buying a lot of Ronald Acuna Jr. And football, I've been buying Patrick Mahomes, which I don't know how longer I'll be able to do that with the prices that his stuff has been going for. But yeah, those are the guys that I've been buying. So I can't really say I regret any of those guys yet. And I guess the best answer would be, if you're buying guys that you like and you're wanting to keep long term, I mean, you're not gonna regret it too much. I mean, the price may go down, but at least you have somebody you like.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't buy a lot of the riskier stuff, and I haven't been opening anything. At first, I can't find it. Second, it costs a fortune when I do. But I'd say maybe the one thing I did open a little bit of, I opened some 2020 Heritage this year, and I don't know, I didn't do well. I'd say maybe that's, if I do have one regret, would be 2020 Heritage. I just wasn't as impressed with it this year as I normally am. Todd Van Poppel, super collector.
I knew he would come up at some point, Buxton. Yeah, those were pretty expensive at one point.
He's big time. I had a lot of it, and you remember I had a lot of his stuff for a while, and I sold it for top dollar at the time, and I was glad I did. I mean, all the 2013 Bowman guys, though, I mean, nobody really out of there has held their value from their peak. Correa has, he spiked up for a while and came down. Buxton did the same thing. Giolito, Polanco. I mean, there's so many of those guys that were in there that did that. Matt Olson, and Buxton's one of them. Yeah, that he never lived up to the hype, but when he plays and is healthy, like you said, he's a heck of an athlete and awesome on defense. Does a lot of good things, but he's never gonna live up to the hype. I mean, yeah, and his prices obviously are nothing compared to what they were, for sure.
I've had some people that have reached out to me, and they brought up Byron Buxton because they know that I've been buying some Acuna stuff, and they asked me, if I worry about Acuna because of a guy like Buxton. And I mean, of course, there's always the risk of somebody busting, but the one thing I will say about Acuna that's different than Buxton is, like, I don't think Buxton's ever had a good season, has he?
No, he never. First off, he never had a complete season. At least if he was on the field. I mean, and no, I'm with you. They're one and the same as far as athleticism and position and a lot of different things. But Acuna's already had, two better seasons than Buxton ever had.
Here's a pretty good question. Is there anything you regret not acquiring? How much time do you have, Dave? Oh, there's so many things. I mean, like, basically, it could be like almost anything right now.
Well, Andy and I very routinely joke around about not acting on things we talk about, and we've done it so many times. I mean, we'll talk about, we'll say, we know this is a good buy, and then we just don't do it for whatever reason. 96 Topps Chrome boxes, we knew back when they were $400 or $500 basketball boxes. We knew that was cheap. I don't know what they are now. I think the last couple were what, $3,000 or $4,000, something like that per box.
Way more than that.
Whatever. I don't even know what they are now. I usually don't look because it makes me sick. But those are one of them. But a lot of the boxes, the sealed boxes, we've talked about it for years. We knew back when 03 Topps Chrome boxes were $200, $300. We knew they were way cheap. LeBron Topps Chrome rookies. Andy and I used to talk about it when they were, what were they, Andy? A couple $100, a few $100 for a while.
It wasn't that long ago.
We talked about just every time we got extra money buying one. Just do nothing but buy those. And of course, we never did it.
Yeah, you get distracted. When you're a collector, you see so much new stuff coming out, and you get focused in on something, and you're like, oh, I'll pick that up later, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, LeBron for sure. I can say LeBron is the one guy that I regret overall, because I knew back, especially his first time around with the Cavs, I knew he was cheap compared to how great he was going to be, career wise. You could see it at that point. You already knew he was going to have a great career. And, if you just would have just steadily bought, you didn't have to spend all your money on, but if you just would have maybe taken 10% of your spending budget per year and just bought LeBron over those years, man, you might have $1 million collection now. I
think a lot of people probably do.
And a lot of people probably do because of it. I knew that. I didn't know it'd be $1 million now, but I knew they were cheap. I knew, day one that they were. And so there's a lot of regret for LeBron specifically for me, because that was in my 20s. I was spending a lot of time watching the market. I didn't have kids. My kids weren't big enough yet. There's a lot of things going on. I should have been concentrating on buying LeBron, and I didn't do it. And I regret it a lot for sure.
Here's a Madden question for you, Michael.
Oh.
Have you seen them talk about this?
No, I've seen the rankings. I've seen some of it, but what's the ratings look like this year specifically on the throwing?
So I think Josh Allen has a 99 throwing power, and Patrick Mahomes is like 97. And they asked Patrick Mahomes, what he thought about that, and he thinks he could outthrow Josh Allen, and he wants to have a throw off. He said,
I think Josh Allen would win on the deep ball throws. I don't know on velocity, but I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a good comparison, though.
It would be entertaining, and I'll take Mahomes in that.
I don't think you can go wrong. I think maybe if you look career-wise or, history-wise, they may have the two strongest throwing arms in NFL history, possibly. Brett Favre, maybe. There's some other guys that you could throw in there, but they definitely, both of them can sling it around pretty good.
Josh Allen, I don't know why, but I think of him as kind of he's kind of like the John Daly of football.
Yeah,
he can crush it, but you don't know where it's going.
Yeah, exactly that. And you got a guy that can throw the good way he can, and then he's a heck of a runner. He runs more than he should for sure. But
yeah, Mahomes has a pitching pedigree. That's right.
No doubt.
Man, I'm trying to keep up with the comments here, guys. Sorry if I've missed some here. Brandon, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, the Madden stuff is always fun because the players are never happy with their ratings. They always think they should be better,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw today on Twitter. I saw George Kittle. I don't know if you guys saw his tweet about Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey got a 99 in this year's game. And George Kittle said he thought he should have got 100 just based on the size of his biceps. I thought that was pretty funny. He was trying to be funny, but
yeah,
it is. It's interesting to see how. I would like to know the background of who picks the ratings and kind of what they look at to go into. That'd be pretty cool to see that for sure.
Yeah, and it's I haven't bought when does the new game come out? Is it out yet? It's not out.
No,
yet.
August 20th, I think, is right around there somewhere.
I usually like to buy it and play it. That's usually the only video game that I ever play.
So Andy, just with all these guys in there, who's the better player out of you and I?
Oh man, come on.
Come on.
Well,
last year's game, out of the 100 times we played, who won probably 80% of the time?
I would say that I won maybe, and this is no joke, if we played 100 times, I would say I probably only won maybe 3 or 4 times.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, okay. You're thinking that's even optimistic, huh?
No, I think you did win that many times.
I'm not the best at Madden by any stretch, but I'm okay. But we played each other so much, and it's just like in real football. Like you kind of we know each other's tendencies a lot, and I mean, I'll try to like mix things up, and it just whenever I try to stray away from my original strategy, things go south pretty quick.
I'm an offensive machine on Madden.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I can tell if anybody ever plays against Michael, I'll give you the game. I'll give you his game plan. Here's what he wants to do. He wants to throw it about probably like 85% of the time.
At least.
Probably about 30% of those are just going to be streak patterns.
Yep.
He's going to have one of the strongest quarterback arms on the game, and he's going to have the fastest receiver. He usually always has Tyreek Hill.
I like Tyreek Hill a lot.
So it's just a pure offensive machine.
I'm going to spread you out, and you got to stop me. I'll make you stop me.
And then defense, he's going to try to strip it every damn time.
That's exactly it. Turnovers.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah. In that sense, then we need to get a live game.
I don't know.
When the new one comes out, we'll do that. We'll do a special episode of this, and we'll play.
I'm already having anxiety about that.
I haven't played in a long time since we stopped. When did we stop playing? Probably January, February.
Oh, it was probably before that.
Was it?
Yeah.
We played for a long time last year's. I know.
Oh man, I mean, if anybody knows me very well, I hate to lose at anything. So it's a very like.
No, I'm the same way. I get mad when I lose.
For a lot of people, they play video games to kind of decompress and kind of relax. I'm the opposite. Like it gets me amped up, like playing video games, because I want to win so bad. And like I'll get a lead against Michael, and then I'm like all anxious, just trying to hold on. I'm like wiping sweat. I'm like just trying to hold on. I start playing too conservative, and then he'll catch up. It's just
a return a kickoff on you or something.
Yeah, it's just it's an awful thing.
Mike up there at the top, if you go baseball collector at the top there, he asked, what's the best player at each position right now based on their careers? Are you talking about baseball, Mike? I'm assuming so. Right now, based on careers, man, that's tough. Mike Trout, obviously center field. That's easy. Man, it's tough. Third base, Arenado to me is the best. I'm a big Nolan fan. Who you thinking, Andy? First base. Who's at first base? I'm trying to think.
Pujols is probably.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah,
first.
Steve, that's a good one. Posey probably at catcher. I probably agree with that. I mean, he's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, but in his prime, he was such a good hitter. Mookie Betts in right field. Is he the best career right now? Probably.
That's what I'm trying to like. I'm trying to think of guys that maybe have started to fade a little bit. That had awesome careers, but
yeah, pitcher wise, I'd say you probably got I'd say the big three right now would be Kershaw, Verlander, and Scherzer. To me, maybe the three best careers. With probably Kershaw to me having the best career, I would say overall out of those guys. Molina at catcher, that's a good one too. Offensive wise, he got better as his career. Him and Posey are pretty interesting. Posey probably had the better peak of his career, but I think Molina's had a longer career. Yeah, Freddie Freeman's been good. Anthony Rizzo's been good. Those guys have been good. They're not Pujols and Cabrera though. Who's at shortstop? Who I'm trying to think of shortstops right now, career wise.
I was thinking like second base, maybe like Robinson Cano.
Yeah, probably. He's had the steroid stuff that kind of overcast on him a little bit, I think, for sure.
Yeah, steroids. Come on. Nobody cares about steroids anymore, right?
Goldschmidt, too, at first base has had a good career. He's been good. Lindor's been good. Javi Baez, some of those guys have been pretty good. Who would be in left field? Christian Yelich. Hadn't played long enough really to.
I don't know. There's probably a lot of guys that I'm not thinking of right now that just because they're not like at their peak.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz. I mean, you got some guys that have been good career guys, but I mean, that's a good question. It's definitely a good question. Yeah, Freddie Freeman does have COVID. What I've read about him is he still keeps having symptoms pop up too. He's really had a tough time with it.
Yeah, Stefan says Trevor Story at shortstop.
Yeah, he's been too injury prone a little bit, but he's been good, man. That dude can hit. And if any of you guys have never seen him up close, I was telling Andy this. I was working in Colorado, went to a Rockies game a couple years ago, and that dude, when you see him up close, Altuve for sure. That dude is strong built. Trevor Story is for a shortstop. I was very shocked at just how big and strong he is. I was very surprised.
Get out of here with that, Mike.
Get out of here.
Elvis Andrews, come on.
Yeah, for sure. The Astros guys, just because of
everybody hates Altuve.
all hatred towards the Astros guys. I mean, your Bregmans and your Springers and your Altuves and those guys. I mean, they're definitely not gonna. They just don't have the same gleam in everybody's eyes that they once did.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Astros have. I mean, all those hitters, especially. I mean, the pitchers, Verlander, he's kind of like he was already established. I mean, I can't hold too much against Verlander, but the rest of the guys, get them out.
And what's the one that went to Tampa that left after that wasn't there last year? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
The hitter?
No, pitcher. Pitcher left the Astros and went to Tampa.
Charlie Morton.
Yeah, I don't know why I was drawing a blank, but he was never anything, and then he's been phenomenal since he was there. Since he was.
Oh, that's gonna be fun, Mark, to see who it is. The best DH in the National.
I mean, probably nobody was happier about that than him.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber. That's
going to help him out a lot. I think he's for sure one of them that's going to peak. Now. I mean, not have to worry about any defense whatsoever, which I don't know if he did before, anyways. But
I don't know if he worried about it as much as all the people watching worried about him being out there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
If you're a Cubs fan, you definitely worried about his defense.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some guys that would not have ever gotten a chance to play. That now they're going to get it. They're going to get an opportunity to play for sure. I mean, it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, who are you most excited about seeing this year, like in baseball, when baseball starts up?
For sure, I want to see. We talked about them a little bit ago, but the Twins, is one team adding Josh Donaldson. They hit the most home runs last year, and I'm real interested to see if they keep that up. Because in this short season, if they hit home runs at that pace, man, they could win. They could win the AL. Teams like that have that are really good at one thing, like especially home runs or pitching. Like the Nationals coming in, I mean, their pitching can make them just, brutal to go against in a short season like this. I think teams that have bad bullpens are going to struggle bad, and just with this format. I'm really interested to see Juan Soto, Acuna. I'm ready to see if they keep going. Vladimir Guerrero, he was another guy too that last year at times he had a good rookie season, but not the elite season everybody thought. I'm ready to see if he kind of takes it to the next level for sure.
So do you guys think that Wander Franco will be – do you think he'll play in the majors?
I don't think he'll play this year. I'd be shocked. Just the Tampa Bay way, I'd be shocked if he plays. Ohtani was mentioned over there. That's a good one too. I'd like to see what Ohtani does this year.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how they handle him. Since he's supposedly he's going to be pitching, and then
I read somewhere where they thought he would get around 8 to 10 starts pitching in this shortened season, and then be in the lineup around 40 games, 35 to 40 games. So, I mean, if he does that, I mean, there may not be a player that has a bigger impact on a short season than him. I mean, that's
So, are you pumping Ohtani for MVP?
No, I don't think. I mean, he's got a teammate there in Mike Trout that will always be a favorite over him, just as long as he's playing at a high level.
Well, but Trout's going to have he's going to have the birth of his child. So
I know that's going to be interesting.
If he leaves, and has to, be out for 3 or 4 weeks, I mean, he's out of the MVP talks. I mean, the season's only going to be like 8 weeks.
Yeah, very short. If I was going to pick the AL MVP, I think it'll come off of a team that maybe is a surprise to somebody, that comes up like the Twins, like a Josh Donaldson. I'm not saying that him, but somebody that's not expected if they do make a run at the playoffs. But I was looking at this the other day, and I was kind of doing the math. I would not be surprised, and I'm never an advocate for this because I'm total against it, but I would not be shocked at all if a pitcher wins one of the 2 MVPs this year. Because if one of the good starting pitchers maybe goes undefeated or, loses next to no games and has low ERA, high strikeouts, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they don't win, because that impact is going to be huge on such a short season.
Okay, throw somebody out there.
Oh, man, put me on the spot, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what this is all about.
Like Garrett Cole, I'll say Garrett Cole has a chance to win the American League MVP for the Yankees. I could see it happening. If he goes, let's say, so he should get 12 starts, 13 starts roughly. Let's say he goes 11-1, 10-2, something like that, and it's just dominant. It wouldn't surprise me at all to win the MVP.
I just don't think any pitcher is going to get I think they're going to baby the starting pitchers a lot, and I don't see them getting a ton of decisions. So I don't know if I can't get on board with a pitcher, but I'll throw somebody out there he's been kind of somewhat forgotten about because of injuries for American League MVP, and he's on the Yankees as well. I'm going to throw Stanton out there.
Yeah, I mean, if he plays all 60 games, I mean, let's say he hits 25 home runs, 20 to 25 home runs, and I mean, which he could. Yeah, he'd have a real good shot for sure.
He's the type of guy like in a season like this, because I mean, he's one of those guys that can go on a tear, he can go on like a 2 or 3 week tear where he just crushes it, and really, I mean, that's all you have to do to be in contention for MVP this year.
I've got I don't want to call it a sleeper in the National League MVP, but a guy that I think if he's healthy the whole time, I like Tatis coming in. If the Padres could kind of get everything figured out, they're starting to get a little bit better. I could see somebody like him stepping in and kind of getting in the spotlight a little bit. I know that's kind of a way sleeper, but I'm a big fan of his. I think somebody like him could come in for sure and do that.
National League, I'm gonna throw somebody out there. I know the Philly boys will appreciate this. I'm gonna go with Bryce Harper.
If they're winning, I mean, he could do it. And Mookie, Ron Fig said Mookie. He's another guy that comes to mind. He's playing for a contract. He's playing kind of a 1-year thing here for the Dodgers, and it'll be interesting to see how he comes out of the gates. For sure.
Okay, somebody asked, I'm trying to find it here. I can't find it, but somebody was asking who has the advantage in this short season. Will it be the hitters or pitchers?
Yeah, I saw that. I think it's the pitchers.
Abel.
I think it's the pitchers.
I think it's the pitchers too, and it's not, and it's weird because we just talked about how I don't think the starting pitchers are going to have the counting stats to maybe qualify for an MVP run. I think it's going to be due to the bullpens because with this short season, like they're going to be able to just throw like a ton of arms at these hitters. And generally speaking, the hitters usually struggle a little bit at the beginning of the year. As you know, pitchers usually dominate early on, right?
Yeah, sure.
But the weather is going to be different because it's typically cold at the start of the season. So maybe that counteracts. But I just think that early on in the season, I just feel like pitchers have advantage because they're fresh. The hitters' timing may not all be there yet, and the pitchers have to throw the ball. The hitters are the ones that have to, actually. I just feel like they're sharper at the beginning of the year, and they tend to wear.
The bullpens are going to be huge. Thank God that this is the first year of the 3-batter rule. Because if that 3-batter rule wasn't in place this year, it'd be I think they would have even more of an advantage. But I'm with you. I definitely think it's the pitchers by far.
Oh man, I didn't see Mike. Mike's going with Giancarlo too.
I think he's a good choice just because of the because of the short season. If he's healthy, if he plays all 60 games, he's as good a choice as anybody. I think for sure.
Oh boy, here we go.
Get out of here.
Carter, key boom.
I think he'll get a shot to play every day at third base. So I mean, we'll see.
A lot of people would be happy if he wins it. Key boom. I know a lot of people have some of his stuff.
Did you guys see the catch? What's the number one, the first round pick that the Tigers had last year? I'm drawing a blank. High school kid. Did y'all see the catch over the wall that he had the other day in their inter squad game?
JT will tell us here in a second.
I'm drawing a blank on his name. I don't know why. I should know. I know all those prospects. And
you're not talking about the pick they just made, right?
The one that last year they made. Yeah, Riley Green. Yeah, that he made a ridiculous catch the other day, and pretty damn impressive.
Because this year their guy was Spencer Torkelson, which he sounds more like a microbiologist than a baseball player to me.
Maybe he'll cure COVID.
Maybe. You never know. I mean, with a name like that, he sounds like a smart guy. I mean, I've never met anybody that had such a smart sounding name that, didn't turn out to be somewhat smart, right?
I mean, it's got to count for something.
Yeah, see, everybody's on the key boom.
Key boom. I think he's gonna be a good player. He's gonna get a chance to play. So that's the first start with Anthony Rendon leaving. So we'll see what happens.
So we got a few minutes left. So let's jump into the basketball. Like who do you think survives in the NBA playoffs? Who do you think comes out?
I think the Lakers are going to be really tough. The Lakers and the Clippers, I think that both LA teams are going to be super tough down the stretch here. I kind of still like the Raptors in the East. I mean, I know a lot of people are on the Bucks bandwagon, but I still like Toronto. I think they're a lot tougher. I think losing the home court advantage, not playing at home, is going to hurt them though. But we'll see. But the Bucks and the Raptors, I think in the East, and then the Lakers and the Clippers in the West would kind of be my picks. What about you?
Well, who's the winner? Who wins it all?
I'll say the Lakers win it. I'll say as long as they got LeBron and he's healthy, it's hard to pick against them.
Yeah. I'm going to go same thing in the West. Like, I think it's just the collision course between the Clippers and the Lakers, unless there's, obviously some kind of injury or, somebody gets COVID and one of the key players is out. Like, I just think those guys are on a collision course. In the East, man, I don't have the seating right in front of me, but I want to say I think Milwaukee is going to come out of the East, but I would watch out for Boston.
Jason Tatum, awfully good.
Jason Tatum is good. It's going to depend. Kemba Walker is kind of still has like a little bit of a nagging knee injury. So, but I'm kind of like in the camp of Kemba, as good of a player he is. I think in order for Jason Tatum to reach his full potential, I think Kemba has got to go. So I could I can maybe even see a scenario where it might benefit Boston to be without Kemba, just because he's so ball dominant, takes a lot of shots.
He does take a lot of shots, but Boston's a good choice too because they're one of the deeper teams for sure. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward, they got a lot of weapons that they can throw at people. The Jazz are not going to win it all.
You're feeling very optimistic, Stefan.
The Jazz are not going to win it all. And I was reading last week. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Rudy Gobert still has symptoms, still has effects, leftover effects from COVID. He still had breathing issues. It has never completely gone away.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like we just we don't know the long-term effects of this stuff. Like right now, it seems like they're only concerned about people that are dying. Well, I mean, obviously we should all be a little bit concerned about that, but we just don't know the long-term effects like on your lungs, and especially if you're a professional athlete, if you're running as much as these NBA players do, that could be obviously an issue.
Yep. And look at the Rockets. I mean, with Westbrook and Harden, both of them having it now. They're two.
I don't know if James Harden had it. Did he?
I've read quite a bit of stuff on social media that says that he had gotten it. But I don't know if it's ever been confirmed or anything like that. But I think he, from everything I understand, he has had it or does currently have it. So, you look at that as what kind of effects are those going to have?
This is a bold prediction right here.
Average is 72.
I think this gentleman might like that, huh?
That guy right there, I wouldn't trust what that guy has to say. but
for anybody out there that doesn't know, that's my brother. So
that's Andy's brother. He's holding some Greek Freak cards, so he would love to see the
Ron Fig. All right. Well, this is a little different, Ron. With my prediction, like I guess I didn't finish, but I'm going to take the Clippers over the Bucks in the finals.
The Clippers?
Yeah, I just like their depth, and I think I just think that the depth might be a key, like in such a short spurt like what we're going to have. I think that depth could come in handy, especially if somebody goes down.
Yeah, I think and that's another reason why Boston is. I don't blame you for kind of talking about Boston being a team that can win out of the East, because even if Tatum went down and Jaylen Brown has to fill it, it's a huge loss, but not many teams have a Jaylen Brown to fill in for somebody like that,
Yeah. So
it does help, for sure, the depth.
That's the one thing too I do like about Boston is, they have so many great wing players. Hayward, Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Gordon Hayward, he was starting to play really good right there towards the end of when the season ended, and stuff too. He was finally getting it going, and yeah, I agree. Have you guys seen skinny Carmelo?
Skinny Mello?
Have you seen the pictures of Carmelo?
No.
He is a beanpole. He looks like a stick figure.
What's the explanation?
Well, because they're moving him from more of a power forward position because of this time. Nurkic and one of the other guys is healthy now, so he's not going to be playing power forward. So they're sliding in more of a small forward role. So I forgot how much weight he's lost. It's a ton. It's incredible how much weight he's lost.
I saw the Joker. He lost a lot of weight, but he did have COVID. So I don't know if that was part of the reason that he did. I mean, there's been several guys that have, you always hear, I'm in the best shape of my life. Some of these guys might be. I don't know.
They might be. Yeah, we'll see.
Some of them, they definitely they look a lot better than they did before. I don't know.
No, Eric, Melo doesn't. He has not had the COVID, as far as I understand. He intentionally lost the weight. But go look it up. Just go look up and look at him, how skinny he looks. I mean, he's never been that skinny ever, since he's at Syracuse or in the NBA or anything.
That'd be kind of cool.
It's not a bad choice.
I think we would. I don't think anybody would be upset about that. That's it'd be a good story. That'd be pretty fitting if that happened.
It's Melo gave all of his weight to Pablo Sandoval. I saw those pictures too, Mike. Those are Pablo Sandoval. Wow, has he gained an incredible amount of weight?
Pablo, for a while, he's had what a lot of people would call a little bit of a weight problem.
But have you seen him back in camp this time around?
No, I didn't. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know if the dude was still playing.
Go look at pictures of him back in camp now. He's gained some weight, a lot of weight. Well, I got a question for you, Andy. If LeBron wins this year and with the Lakers and the age he's at, how many more years do we get of LeBron? Do you think playing?
Let's see. I would say, man, the kind of shape he's in, I mean, he could probably easily play another 3 or 4.
I mean, how old is LeBron? Let's see, he's played 18 years. He was roughly 19, was he 36, 37?
Yeah.
Something like that. Give or take a little bit.
Yeah, he
played for 40.
Yeah, I think so. He's different, man. He's just not like regular athletes. Like the way he takes care of his body and prepares, I mean, he could, if he wants to play another 3 or 4 years, I think he definitely could.
Yeah, well, he plays with his brain. I mean, I know he's a big, strong guy, but he's an intellectual player too. So, I mean, even as he does age, I think he's one of the guys that can continue to play at a high level for sure.
He knows how to pace himself at this point. I mean, he's a veteran, and if Anthony Davis re-signs with the Lakers, which I don't, don't have any reason to think that he wouldn't, but if he does, then yeah, I mean because that takes so much pressure and weight off LeBron's shoulders, because he has that guy that, I mean, this is like the first year of LeBron's career where he's not the leading scorer on his team.
Yeah. And Anthony Davis was really starting to play good right there before they shut down. I mean, he played good all year, but he was really, really getting it going there at the end.
LeBron's 35.
35. I mean, I get mixed. I'm 38, and LeBron essentially graduated high school in 03, and I graduated in 2000, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he could play, at least 3 or 4 more years if he wants to. I mean, because that's staying in the kind of shape that he does. That's a big commitment. I mean, that's not just like a guy like him. It's not just like, hey, I'll get in shape. It's it's a lifestyle that he has to live to stay in the kind of condition that he does. Yeah. So you got anything you want to finish up here, Michael?
Not really much. So everybody keep collecting. Watch out for the investor game and collect what you like, as always.
Watch out for the investors, right?
Watch out for those guys trying to get you money.
No, I mean, they will they'll try hard. That's for sure. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for jumping in. Lots of cool questions and comments. And hopefully everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Later, guys.